What is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I is, the good doc, Dr. Mike, back again, once again, with another classic video for that ass today. Sincerely hoped everybody is blessed and definitely hoped everybody's having a good one. The good doc is having a great day. First time to the channel, like, subscribe, notify, the whole nine. Everything you need to know about the good doc should be listed in the links in the description area below. Today, I wanted to take an interesting approach to a particular topic that I have yet to discuss from this particular angle. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about provincial life versus city life without taking into consideration Filipinas as the mainstay of the topic. We've talked about briefly a video that I did before, Davao versus Manila, and I've given you guys my perspective on both areas, considering that I had lived in Malate for a brief period of time, or Mita area, which is the Metro Manila area, and also, of course, the time that I spent in Davao City. I'm now able to expand on that just a little bit more, considering time spent in Legazpi and time spent in other areas in the Philippines as well. A lot of what my foreigners ask me is, Doc, what do you recommend? What do you recommend? Do you recommend city life, or do you recommend me staying in the city as a first timer to the Philippines? Do you recommend me going to the province? Where am I going to have the most fun? Where am I going to get my bang for my buck? And because that is such a loaded question, I'm going to try my best to unpack it to explain it the best way humanly possible. For first timers to the country, all right? First timers to the country, I recommend city areas, okay? Anywhere where foreigners are in abundance. And a lot of people will be like, Doc, why are you saying that? You're going to set them up for failure. In my personal opinion, I believe that to be the exact opposite. If you're new to the country, you have nobody around, you don't know who you can rely on or who you can, trust or anything like that. I want you to be in an area where foreigners are in abundance. Now, am I saying that you're going to be able to trust foreigners? Hell no. But what I am telling you is that as long as you have a group of individuals around you that may be like you, there's a high percentage chance that, you could, be able to gather some assistance from these people. Filipinos, for the most part, naturally friendly. I give them credit where credit is due. They can be helpful, but then again, you have to understand that anywhere that you go, newbie to the country, little green, little wet behind the ears, you're going to have to be on alert and make sure that, you are thinking out loud and, keeping in the back of your mind that maybe not everyone has your best interest at heart, whether that be foreigner, whether that be Filipino. Okay, but I do recommend city life because it gives you the abundance and the plethora of activities that most foreigners are looking for whenever they come to the Philippines. All right, your big city areas, for lack of a better term, for guys that are interested in women, and this is the only plug that I'm going to give for women, your red light districts, they're pretty much found in the, in the heavier city areas, Makati, P. Burgos Street, the red light district in Angeles City. Even though Angeles City is not a big city, you kind of know what you're going to get when you get there. Mango Square or Street in Cebu, wherever that place is, you're going to have that if you're looking for women. So outside of that, I would never recommend a foreigner go to the province unless they have people that they know and can trust in the province. Somebody that they know and can trust. I would never recommend a foreigner for the first time to the country go to the province, right? The province life is different, okay? I enjoy it. That's because when I go there, I'm never alone when I go there. I enjoy it. I think that it's an awesome experience. It gives you a fresh perspective of the country. It gets you outside of that traffic that is dismal at best in Manila or outside of the heavy trafficked areas in the Philippines. It gets you outside of that. The air is a little fresher, should be. And the lifestyle out there is a little bit different. You're going to have some sacrifices. Maybe internet isn't in abundance. Maybe it's not as great. Cell reception may not be as great, but it provides you a lifestyle that gets you outside of your normal technological comforts when you visit the provincial areas. Now, I'm not saying that every province you go to, you're going to have to sacrifice or give that up, but I'm not going to sit there and tell you that, your internet and things are going to be running as smooth as they may run in other areas. So again, city life for your first time visits, if you're choosing to live here, if you're trying to find a place to settle and live, and you have somebody with you, somebody you could trust, I would not mind recommending that you choose a lesser congregated area. Not necessarily a province, but an area in which there are not a lot of people around, or a lot of, not a lot of foreigners and stuff like that. You can pretty much get a decent lifestyle prepared, or a decent way of living developed for yourself. Some people say Dumaguete. Doc says Davao all day long, and that'll never change. There are some places in Cebu as well. Some places outside of the outskirts of Manila. Legazpi, awesome place if you ask me. As a place for you to check out. Not a lot of foreigners out there. There's a lot going on. There's enough going on that I think you should be able to develop a comfortable lifestyle and routine for yourself. But if you ask the question of whether it's province or city life, it depends on yourself in reference to the activities that you like to do, what you're interested in, what you're willing to give up, what you're willing to sacrifice. Everything is all encompassed when you're asking yourself the question of the area in which you want to live in. A lot of people are comfortable living in the countryside. Some people from the US come from that particular lifestyle, and they're good living that lifestyle, and they prefer that in the Philippines. And you've seen a lot of foreigners make videos about their comfortable life out in certain provincial areas, and it's a comfortable life for them. It may not necessarily mean it's going to be a comfortable life for you. Let me say that one more time. Just because it's comfortable for them and you see it working out for them may not necessarily mean that it's going to work out for you. So there is a lot to take into consideration when considering the place where you want to spend the majority of your time in country. I've had a lot of people ask me about certain provincial areas. Some places I haven't been, so I can't speak on them. Like I said, I can speak on Metro Manila, Davao City, and the time spent in Legazpi. I can speak on those. But in reference to, other areas, I can only imagine that most of those areas are more or less the same as other provincial areas. There may be a little bit more or a little bit less that you can partake in these areas, but overall, a provincial area is still a provincial area. I think what really makes the difference is, the activities that you want to partake in, what makes you happy, what tickles your pickle. Those are the things that really determine where you are the most comfortable in living at. Some people do swear by Dumaguete as a starting point for most foreigners to go to. I can swear by Davao. Some people will swear by Angeles. Some people will swear by the Metro Manila area. In hindsight, everybody has their own reasons for choosing these particular areas. Personally, I choose provincial area as the place to stay because the cost of living is a little bit less. That is probably one of the ultimate benefits in reference to living in your big city areas like your Cebus and also your Manilas. I'm all about cost of living, and I'm all about comfort. I don't need much. Don't ask for much. I can live a comfortable life doing very little. But for your other foreigners, first timers to the country, it may not be so easy. Your first time stayers in the country, your first time visitors to the country, I think that the adjustment process to the province is not going to be easy. I think it's going to be absolutely difficult. If you haven't been in a country and you don't know what to expect, to just throw yourself or thrust yourself into a provincial like lifestyle, it's probably going to be detrimental to your mind state, because there's a lot that you have to deal with, guys. Probably a whole lot more than you're probably used to, especially if you're coming from a city like New York or your Philadelphia's or your big cities in Texas and California, of course. Provincial lifestyle doesn't suit many of those guys very well. I see a lot of those guys hanging out in the Metro Manila area. Unless you have a young lady that comes from these areas and can show you around and you can adjust basically for her, I don't see you being able to do that on your own. So when it comes to provincial areas, excuse me, I see that a lot of people make that transition based off of, people that they know in the area, or, a young lady that can help show them around. Again, I didn't want to make this video about the women or choosing to live in province versus city areas based on your preference in women. I wanted to make it based on your preference of lifestyle. What really are you comfortable with? What are you willing to sacrifice and live without? Once you're able to analyze yourself and write down and jot down those particular answers, you'll pretty much get an idea of whether you're willing to live in the provincial area or not. I've heard areas like Leyte and Samar and all of these areas, they genuinely seem to pique the interest of most foreigners when it comes to traveling to a more provincial area. Um, I would love to visit those places myself. There are a couple of more on the bucket list. But for your average foreigner coming into the country for a first time, if you really want to get the experience of city life in the Philippines, you have to give yourself an opportunity to enjoy it. Give yourself an opportunity to immerse yourself in it. Once you've tired yourself out of that and you're looking for something new, that's when I feel like you can transition yourself into a more provincial like lifestyle, or giving yourself an opportunity to take a bus outside of the city, go to your Baguios, go to your Legazpis if you're in the Metro Manila area, go to your Rizals, those places outside on the outskirts of Manila. Give yourself a chance to experience it if you have the time to do so. But I wouldn't recommend a first timer to the country going straight to the province unless you know somebody. Even if you do know somebody, have them meet you in the city, and then maybe you travel together to the province at a later time. Don't just automatically go straight to the province. I just feel like that is something that's uncomforting for myself. And it's hard for me to recommend foreigners do that fresh out the gate, because provincial lifestyle is, it's questionable for your average foreigner if you're not ready for it and if you're not prepared for it. So give yourself an ample opportunity to prepare for it and adjust before making those moves. If you're looking to go to like your nearest waterfall, or like whatever the adventure holds for you in that provincial area, and you're not going to be there for very long, maybe that could, influence the decision making process. But for the most part, city first, graduate yourself to the province, and only go to the province if you have somebody you trust helping you to navigate your way around there. I've never been to the province without somebody that I trusted, okay? That's my personal rule of thumb, and I think that all foreigners should follow that rule of thumb. Unless you have somebody you trust to take you out into these areas, then I wouldn't recommend you go. If you're on an online dating app and you just so happen to meet a young lady on Tinder or whatever the apps you guys are using nowadays, and she says, "Oh, come meet me in my area," just tell her, "Nah, baby, you come meet me. You come meet me here, and maybe we could travel together." Just for your own safety and for the good doc's peace of mind. All right. So that's all I have to say about this one. I hope that it was helpful. Any questions that you have to add or ask, please leave it in the link. God dang it. Please leave it in the comments down below. And also, I want to hear what you guys feel. Do you prefer province? Do you prefer city life? Personally, I want you to give me your own personal, honest opinion. Are you a city guy, provincial guy? And explain to me why. That'll definitely help me out, and also help to create a dialogue between myself, the audience, and everybody who has an opinion to share over here on the Good Docs channel. All right. So with that being said, the Good Doc is officially out. At least nako pa alam, which means I am going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Mga kita. Mabuhay. Peace.